and the problem is the track record, right? The problem is our track record. So even if this does work out and Mr. Panay shows up and he has all these big discussions and this is what we're going to do and this is what we're going to do we trust when he's gone, right? When the jet leaves, do we trust the people who he's left that information with to actually execute it?
Ni nani mage skiza mage Kakizoza niulize venye mimi na feel zimeshika dogo mina morio wa mi Kakizoza digitali imefanya na cheki gati mekatika niongeze morio wa mi Kakizoza niulize venye mimi na feel Kakizoza zimeshika na morio wa mi Kakizoza niongeza jaba sani cheki gati swe katika kauna dai form na mi ati gami mekatika mbono ile tenja kwa stare zangu fisa uko na saa digi imefika saa tisa.
What's up guys and welcome to episode 180 of the 30% podcast. I go by Afam. My podcast co-host goes by Sam, the Jedediah Are, and together we form the 30% podcast, a podcast where we talk about the Kenyan music industry from the perspective of two Kenyan producers. Don't forget, Afam stands for a fine African man. Sam, what's up? How are you? Did you get the reference?
No, I'm wondering what that was. It is not a game show.
It's a okay. So basically, this is 2 years ago. I was so bored one New Year's, and they were playing darts on TV. Like it was the darts World Championship, and I was addicted. I got so addicted to watching darts on TV. You don't understand how addictive darts is. Like some of the stuff
that addictive. It's you're throwing.
And right now I'm a huge fan of a guy called Luke the Nuke Littler.
Oh,
like,
isn't there,
bro?
Is it before you get to Luke the Nuke? Before you get to Luke the Nuke, isn't there? I think I saw a report of two Kenyans just making absolute waves in the dart.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah. That happened this year. Usually the World Championships for darts are at the beginning of the year, and yeah, a Kenyan got really far. He didn't win, but like he got really far. Luke Littler won the World Championships, second year in a row, by the way. He's the new he's like Messi for darts. You know, the old guy who used to be really good was a guy called Van Garwen, but now he's no longer like the OG. Right now it's Luke Littler, man. Anyway, when you get 180
I just wanted to mention that David Muñoz, I think was the name I saw.
Oh, that was his name. Yeah. And so when you get the maximum points you can get in darts is 108.
Oh my gosh! Can you not don't do that again?
So, yeah.
Just
why?
Do that again. It's so game showy.
Why can't I just share my
sound like the ads coming up next
on the podcast?
It makes it sound like the ads coming up next. I don't like it.
And then all of the darts hosts, they have their own ways of doing the 180 thing. 180. 100. Okay, I'm so sorry. Anyway, Sam,
please move on.
We've done this for 180 episodes. Sam, what's up?
It's podcasting, not darts. What's going on? It's a good day, I guess.
What's on your mind? What's
I'm cool. I'm just recovering. I'm recovering from rituals. I'm still recovering. I thought I would have recovered by now. And that happened Thursday night?
That was Thursday, yeah.
So by the time we're recording this a couple of days later, it's also because I've not been like stationary. Like I took Friday to like chill and rest. I did a little bit, but then just like relax. I slept most of the day.
Do you wanna let some of our international listeners know what Rituals is?
Rituals is the showcase. It's the Safari owns the production DJ group that I'm part of. Collective that I'm part of. We usually have a showcase once every couple of months. So last week, Thursday, we had the third edition official edition of Rituals, partnered with Jägermeister and Hustle Sasa. So it was a show. It was a whole night of just all the DJs playing, some of the big the notable DJs. The DJs part of the collective, just showcasing, playing a couple of music, playing our original music as well as what they are used to playing, their sets and all that stuff. So it was cool. It was held at
Covo. It was held at Covo in Harlingen.
Yeah, it was held at Covo. And yeah, it was a good show. Covo was not as big as the other venues we've had. The last time we had it at Mass House, but it felt a lot. Well, it was packed in there. It was a good show. I was working the whole night. I was doing stage management because I can't DJ still.
Yeah, Sam was
so
stressed.
I was moving around, making sure everything is happening. The people who are supposed to be on stage are on stage, and the things that are supposed to be happening are happening. And giving artists hampers. But yeah, it was cool. Afam pulled through. This is the first one you attended, isn't it? You've not attended any other ones.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I was around for.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I was around.
Yeah, you weren't around for the
other editions.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, me, I was there to support my boy Sam. My experience was nice. You guys threw a good event actually. So listen, everybody who listens to this podcast knows I'm not the biggest connoisseur of Afro house. And I believe this is my second Afro house event in my life.
Ooh, which was the first?
The first was, I can't remember what is it called? It's the one that was at NSK when they blocked the roads. It's gonna come to me. Anyway, that was my first event to attend. This was my second. And yeah, like I enjoyed it. I feel like the highlight of the night was when Mura and Hiribai came on, and I feel like that was a vibe.
They always bring the energy.
Yeah, those guys always bring the energy for real. Yeah, man. Yo, listen, we were dancing and having a great old time.
You guys, yeah. Abigail also showed up from Ongeza Volume. It was good having you guys there.
Yeah.
It was cool having you guys there. She left at some point though.
Yeah,
speaking
left,
of dancing, you guys should have seen Afam's dance moves. Afam was
they
dancing.
They were phenomenal. Am I right?
No. They were not. You tried. It's just the moves you are making do not really go with Afro House. I don't know if it's just because you don't attend many of these shows, but I was just there in the corner just chuckling to myself like, oh, look at him. He's having a good old time.
Listen. I can get my groove on. Listen.
All right.
But no, it's good to see. No, it's good to actually feel the music like in person and be outside. And I actually like that Covo isn't that big. Yeah. I feel like for that kind of like music, it makes it feel more energetic. I don't know, because there's just so many people in one place. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, as Sam mentioned, we were there with Abigail, but prior to that, we were actually at a listening party. We were invited to Watiri's Trouble. So Hilda Watiri released an EP called Watiri's Trouble. Her manager Okoyo graciously invited us. Unfortunately, Sam couldn't go because he was literally organizing rituals. But yeah, we went there, like got to the spot. It was at a really dope spot called Sage Delicacy. And then they have a really dope like initiative in Sage Delicacy. Like at the bar, everybody who's hired by the spot is, I believe, mute. And so it's like a way to help hire people who are mute so that they can create job opportunities for them. So like all the bartenders and the waiters don't speak. And it's just a very different dynamic. I've never experienced something like that. But that was the first thing I noticed. And I was like, wow, that's very interesting. But we entered the spot. It's really well decorated. I came after Abigail Diana from Ongeza Volume. And yeah, man, it started a bit late, I can't lie, because it was advertised as it was supposed to start at 5 p.m., but I'm pretty sure the listening proper started like at around 7 or something like that. In their defense, I arrived at 6, so I was late, but then early in Kenyan timing. So yeah, there was a bunch of people. Where Nubia came through. Femi One was there, and just a bunch of cool people. And Run came. Bro, Run is like, Run is like Hendrik Sam's like main competition at the moment, because he's on everything. It's actually so insane. Yeah, Listen and K-Rop were doing the DJ sets for the event, and so that was also really cool to see them. And yeah, we Okoyo gave us an introduction. It was actually really well. Like, the theme was black and red. There was a photo booth outside. Oh, Sam, I haven't showed you the pictures me and Abigail took. We did like a photo booth thing, and it was actually very wholesome. So yeah, we did that. And I would say the project, which is out now, by the way, so you all go listen to that. The project is pretty nice. I mean, Run has that signature. It's like Afrobeats mixed with amapiano mixed with general, just like Afro pop sounds.
And he uses a lot of organic, like string sections and guitars and stuff like that. Yeah, it's very organic.
Exactly. Yeah, and from what I understand, when Hilda was explaining the process behind making the music, she was like, yo, being in the studio with Ran is so simple, he's so easy to work with and everything. I think Ran has a huge role to play when it comes to songwriting some of these songs, because it feels like he gives them ideas. Would you say that the music that comes out from Ran's production, there's a similarity? You can tell that there is a similar theme in terms of even how the songs are structured and written, because even when you listen to like the stuff he's released with We Are Nubia, it's very similar to some of the stuff that, if you listen to like Fall, for example, it's also very which is a song that's on Hilda Watiri's project. It's very similar to the We Are Nubia songs.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've made that observation.
That's actually, it's an interesting observation, because it's one of the observations that we're having one of the discussions we're having during the, we'll talk about it later, the set list.
Ongeza volume.
Yeah, Ongeza volume set list. When we're talking about producers. But yeah, I mean, obviously, as an artist, as a producer, you have your signature. Very good producers have multiple signatures. Not to say that if you just have a singular sound, that it's a bad thing, but very good producers have multiple signatures. So you do have a signature. And Run does have a sound, honestly.
Wait. Sorry, I have to interject. Wait, do you think it's better as a producer to specialize on one song, or to be completely multifaceted? Cause there's a saying, I don't know if it's by Bruce Lee or someone, where it's like, I fear more the person who has practiced one punch 1,000 times than 1,000 different punches, or something like that.
But that's about beating men up. That's
yeah, and this is about making beats. Like, bro, I try my best to offer entertainment.
Yeah, I know you do.
To this podcast.
I know you do. Sorry, and we appreciate all the work that you do. I don't know. It depends. I think as a producer, there are producers who are known for just creating the same type of beat over and over again. I'm thinking back to like the days of like Lex Luger when he was coming out. Those beats weren't very different. It was all the same thing. Or was the other guy who uses a lot of church chords in his productions? I forget Zaytoven. Yeah. Like, his music more or less sounds the same, similar, but he does that well. So you could do that, or you could be a Hit Boy or Kanye West, who can, sit down. A Hit Boy is probably a better example, who can sit down with R&B, sit down with Beyonce and craft something completely different, and then go and sit down with Big Sean and craft something completely different as well. So it just depends. I think,
or like Benny X for the new school.
Yeah. It's a good thing to have, because that just shows that you have more arrows in your quiver. You have a lot more to offer artistically. But then you're also known for something, and also it could evolve. I'm also thinking of what's this guy's name? Mustard, DJ Mustard, who of course he had a run where it was the same music over and over again. But then after that period ended, he has evolved into like different sounds and different sorts of R&B.
For sure.
So yeah, it depends. It depends on honestly what you want to do. I think personally, I feel like for me, I would want to, which is something I've worked on since I started producing. I'd want to have just a whole bunch of different sounds that I'm able to make. Because then you're able to like work with more artists and tap into their sounds as much rather than them coming to you.
Imagine me, I agree. Because I want to be able, I'm just like you, because I want to be able to make trap, I want to make drill, I want to make gengetone, I want to make dance, I want to make afro. You know, like I don't want to just stay in one lane. I feel like I just get so
there's people
bored.
there's people who have like 10-year careers, 20-year careers of just making the same. Like imagine the rock, the producers used to produce like the rock bands in them. It's literally just the same song over and over again.
Yeah.
Just different chord structures and the guitar is being played in the intro and not the bridge. But then they're able to produce that. So it depends. It depends on what.
But
you're feeling
the thing about that is you end up becoming very specialized. So you start making like some really good music. So there's like there's upsides to both approaches.
You find
production.
pockets in between that one sound that you're able to exploit, I guess.
Exactly. But you were talking about Run in context of his signature or what has become his signature sound.
He does have Run definitely has a signature sound. It's very mellow. It's a lot softer. He uses string sections in there. He likes to use guitars, and it's very musical. That's what I'd say. Run's sound is very, very musical. But his drums sort of represent Afropop. In what Afropop has sort of plateaued is not. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but then sort of it has leveled out as in terms of evolving and adding all the different elements, the amapiano log drums and all of that, the shakers. So it has sort of leveled that out as this, and his music is like the simplification of what that is, and it really works. It works especially with the rest of his instrumentation. I agree with that. But do you think we're ready for a disruptor? Somebody who offers something different from what Hendrik Sam brings to the table as well as Run. I think me personally, I think I'm feeling for somebody who now has like a sound that's mainstream, yes, but like a different offering from what both of them are offering us right now. Yeah, because at some point, but it's amazing. It's amazing to see what he's doing, you know, like with all these different artists. And it's like, I feel like Run mostly works with like the female like artists in the Afropop scene. He's done a couple of productions with, like, he's worked with Watanda Wheelie and them though. So he has. Yeah.
But I'm trying to see something. But what would that look like?
That's the thing. That's like, it's something we haven't seen. So what does that disruption sound like? It's really going to take a producer who's like very bold, and it's also going to take acceptance, because you can have that and it
has to be Kenyan sounding.
Yeah, but then
it has to be something that Kenyans can digest.
Okay, that's a better way to put it.
Digestible for
because if you say it has to be Kenyan sounding, that brings us back to the what does that sound like?
The age-old debate.
what is Kenyan sounding? But yeah, it would be cool to see. Honestly, it would be cool to see. But then, is it something that is going to stay, or is it going to be like a fad, or is it going to
But everything is a fad. Well, not a fad, but everything has like a timeline or a time limit, because even the compa stuff is gonna die out for sure, you know, like hopping on this Afropop amapiano mixed like medleys, that's also gonna fade.
Exactly. Once other industries, and you know, Kenya tends to be one of the last ones on the line to be following sounds. And so as the Amapiano Afropop wave is sort of phasing out in like the West, and by West I mean West Africa, which is one of the places where African music has its signatures. As that fades out, we're going to either we're probably just going to copy whatever comes from there. Honestly, I don't know if we have big enough disruptors to be able to do that yet. I think we do. It's just I don't know if we're bold enough to. Yeah,
well,
hopefully we can.
it's up to the producers. This is a producer talk, because what I've realized is these guys like Run and Hendrik Sam, like they impose their will on the industry. Like this is what they
you
want
you came to my
do,
session.
and
You're going to do the music the way I want you to do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it just takes a producer imposing their will and doing it.
But creating
You just say, I'm doing it.
Do you think a sound like for example, if there's a disruptor, right? And you make a song and it's completely different. Do you think that song has to be a hit for it to catch on, for other people to want to use that sound?
Yeah. It has to. It like what you need is one song to hit, like the way D&D hit. You need one song to hit, and then now you need to like work on a bunch of stuff with like so many different people, so that it feels like, like when you even hear that Run tag, it's in so many songs, so it feels bigger than just an individual almost.
Yeah.
But you need the hit. If you don't have the hit,
people are not going to try and replicate B-sides on on projects and just other singles. No, but yeah, he does have a sound. A lot of producers, and now probably moving into the set list, but a lot of the conversation we're having on the set list, a lot of our producers sort of have their signature sounds, and so it's a thing. And it's also probably the thing of having a smaller industry where there's only like 5-6 producers doing things at that level, and so there's not much difference to look at. Like in another industry where there's hundreds and hundreds of producers creating at high levels, then you might have a little bit more variance, but then we don't have that much variance.
What would you say your signature sound is? I would say yours is like more on the electronic side. That's where you thrive mostly when it comes to like I don't know, like not EDM, but like things with that electronic vibe. That's where your signature comes in.
Yeah, I don't think I've tapped. What am I trying to say? I don't think I've tapped into, like, for example, how Run would produce and just that template of beats. I don't think I've mastered that well. I don't think I've wanted to master that. I produce with a lot of samples, and it's not necessarily like taking like whole samples and just like adding music to it, but then I manipulate a lot of samples within like one song. So like within one song, I'll probably have 2, 3, 4, 5 different completely different samples from different corners of the earth musically, and try and make them homogeneous. Try and make them work together. So like if I'm looking at myself internally, I think that's my sound. But I think it evolves, especially just because I produce many different genres. Yours though, I'm trying to think about yours. I think yours would be the drums. Your drums have there's a very unique feel when you hear an Afam beat, whether it's trap or it's urban tone. Like there's even R&B. Like I don't know. Do you hear it though? Are you?
No idea.
You're not aware
if anybody
of it.
asks me what my signature sound is, I have no.
If you go and like look at Afam's catalog of the songs he's produced, like you can tell there's a specific vibe about it. I don't know how you get there.
There's a vibe.
Yeah, but
well,
it's cool, man. Hey,
yeah,
that's our sounds, cool. Our signatures, not our tags. We're also at the Ongeza Volume set list.
Set list.
Yeah, the Ongeza Volume set list show. Shout out to Abigail Diana and the Ongeza Volume team. That was a very, very good. Very good, what do you call it? Event, meeting. Not a meeting. It felt like a meeting. It felt like the industry.
It felt like a meeting in places.
It felt like the industry critics meeting. But yeah, though that was a very good show. Just sat down to talk about the Kenyan music. The releases from both releases and shows, like events from January.
Around December
Yeah.
to now.
The past couple of months.
Yeah.
The past couple of months. And so yeah, it was hosted by her and Kea. Shout out to Kea.
Franklin Care.
Yeah, I liked him being up there because he was giving the journalist perspective. Because essentially, what the room was full of critics, and what we're doing is sort of, it's like pseudo journalism. So it was good to also just have like a straight journalist in there. But yeah, it was a great show, man. We had very, very good conversations. The main conversation was centered around AI, obviously, because that's a very big thing currently. But yeah, how did you?
Yeah, man. For me, it was interesting to see what people wanted to dwell on.
Yeah.
And people really wanted to dwell on the AI conversation. And people also really wanted to dwell on the gatekeeping conversation. And I think those are two things that are highly pertinent to people who are in the industry, especially behind the scenes, because AI is it's just a huge thing that has happened in the past year and a half that everybody seems to be contending. So,
Yeah.
People had a lot of insider information on, I'm not going to say it on this podcast, but like which artists are using AI to make their projects.
A lot of people were also
like
shocked.
That. So it was very interesting.
Some of their favorite artists are dibbling and dabbling, are partaking. Unfortunately,
in using AI,
everyone is doing it.
Even me, I heard on some, I was like, "What? Like this person is using AI for their music?" I was like, "Wait, that's crazy."
You know what was interesting?
So that seemed to be the.
Sorry, you know what was interesting is it was just the question that was asked about, if you, let's say you like a song already and then you find out whether it's AI, does it change how you feel about that song? Like that's such a fascinating idea. To that your emotions are tied to not just how the music was created. I think it's just specifically AI, because if people wouldn't mind if it was samples rather than a live band playing, they wouldn't mind. But then
wait, are you suggesting that you don't mind? Or that your feelings won't change?
It will definitely impact how I view the song. Obviously, it will definitely impact how I view the song. It's a strange place to be in, where you're torn in between feeling something for a song that was created by something that doesn't have feeling. So how do you like navigate like AI is literally just algorithms and what do you call it?
I guarantee you, Sam, there's a future that's waiting for us, and I'm sure it's even already happening, where people are going to justify that AI has feelings. But let's not talk about that right now.
That's Black Mirror. That's Black Mirror-ish. No, but it was
some Black Mirror stuff.
No, but the show was good. Shout out to Abigail Dana. It was at Two Grapes. Yeah, very good show. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was at Two Grapes. Like I said, the other thing that everybody seemed to be stuck on is gatekeeping and the people who essentially control the music industry that we see today. Whether it's people who are in charge of programming on radio shows or media, the people who decide or are taste makers in the scene.
Taste makers.
And I had a really in-depth conversation with Okoyo like during one of the breaks. Yeah, man, I think, bro, ultimately it's about the people that we have in positions of power, really. And we had this conversation in our gatekeeping talk that was like over a year ago when we had that podcast. But really, I think that's what it is. I think the music industry is going to always be viewed from a lens, or from the lens of the person who is controlling some of these things. Because, for example, if a person who comes from like the shrap communities and stuff like that gets a really big position in, let's say, a streaming company or something like that,
probably going to put a lot more shrap on.
Yeah, the first people who they're going to put on are going to be people who make rap music, and it's trappy. You know, they're going to be more tapped into that scene. Of course, they're going to try to branch out, but then you're going to see the bias there. And it's impossible to please everyone, is what I think. But ultimately, It's really just about who we put in these positions of power. And if we can have people who are more balanced, well balanced, a bit more level keeled or even keeled in terms of what the narratives they're trying to paint, where they're not focusing heavily on just R&B or focusing heavily on just urban tone or this and that, the third. Like, if you can have somebody who can strike that balance and then also isn't only driven by monetary gain and capitalist agendas, then that's where we'll start to get a little bit of progress.
That's
That's
entirely
a very
too many
ideal
things.
situation.
Those are entirely too
Yeah,
many
yeah,
things
it's
to
a
come
very
together.
ideal
That's
situation.
that's like the super gatekeeper. Those are entirely too many things to work out for the type of human beings that we're around. Honestly, maybe there are. I genuinely think there are people around there who have good intentions, and
But the people in that room for the set list and stuff like that, I feel like some of those people will be future like stakeholders on that level.
Abigail for
So
sure is going to be a
hopefully-
gatekeeper. I'm sure she's relishing being a gatekeeper.
Relishing.
Yeah. I know she's waiting for the moment where she can gatekeep some people. But she's only going to put good music on. She's just a supporter of music. So, yeah.
But yeah, it was a very activity-filled week. So in the news, I guess the thing that's been talked about a lot is the Grammys. So I need to. Everybody who reports on this reports on it as though it's the actual Grammys that are going to be hosted in Kenya. At this point, I've even been gaslit into being confused about this, because the way I understood it the first time was that the bid that was made, which was 500 million Kenya shillings, deposited for reasons I don't know. Anyway, so apparently that bid was supposed to be to see which country, and no other country apparently submitted a bid, but which country in Africa is going to host the African version of the Grammys. That was my understanding, but everybody who reports on it speaks about it like it's just the Grammys in general.
No, it's not.
I don't know what's
if
happening.
If it was just the
there.
Grammys, there'll be a lot more hype around it. I think it's the African Grammy.
Yeah, like I don't know why the reporting is like that. But anyway, Grammy Academy President Panos Panay to visit Nairobi for creative economy talks. So he's scheduled to be in the country between the 26th and the 29th of this month to have talks with our president on opportunities with Kenya's creative economy and the country's position in the global music industry. So apparently the visit is going to be supported by the US Department of State's Arts Envoy program, which apparently engages American arts professionals to promote international collaboration and cultural diplomacy. I guess the aim is to foster stronger global connections in the industry by connecting international music professionals with experienced US-based mentors for the academy, with the focus on cultivating the behind-the-scenes professionals essential to thriving music markets worldwide. So, for me, it looks like they're invested in doing two things. One, discussing this African Grammys thing, and two, figuring out how to improve our creative economy and, I don't know, like open up some of our creatives to these opportunities that they have, like in the States, as well as linking this our people to these stakeholders so that we can see what progress can happen. I don't know. How do you feel about this whole thing? Do you think this African Grammys thing is actually going to happen? And do you see like it being a beneficial thing for us in general?
If it happens, it would be beneficial. I mean, there's a world where it would happen, because right now I feel like there's a lot of positive, at least from the people who are initiating it. Like there's a lot of positive perspective. There's a positive perspective about it, and they definitely see it as something that's promising. It has the potential to be good for the industry. just bring a little bit of light. Like we've talked about that before. We've talked about just the positives, the collaborations that could come out of it, and just the spotlight on Kenyan art and Kenyan music and the Kenyan culture, which is an important part of Kenyan art and Kenyan music. So yeah, obviously with stuff like this, I'm just very skeptical. Like, yeah,
Especially from our government and stuff. It's
yeah, because even and the problem is the track record, right? The problem is our track record. So even if this does work out and Mr. Panay shows up and he has all these big discussions and this is what we're going to do and this is what we're going to do we trust when he's gone, right? When the jet leaves, do we trust the people who he's left that information with to actually execute it? Which is something that we have been struggling with in the creative industry and just generally, I think, as Kenyans, is that execution and the
like the follow through,
the follow through,
the follow up,
yes, the follow through,
these things,
the follow through. It feels like there's not much incentive. It's like a moment, like the incentive exists.
Does this feel like
a
a massive PR thing? Is that what you're trying to express?
Well, for this one, honestly, I don't think this is a PR move. I think there's elements of that. It does feel that there is PR about it, like, oh, look at us, we care about the Kenyan creative economy. But I feel like for this one, it doesn't feel like a PR move as much as it just feels like more empty promises. It feels like more okay, not promises, because there's not really anything promised here. We'll get to the promises later, but then it just feels like, oh, this is exciting and this is a good thing that we're going to do, and don't worry, like, this is going to benefit us. But then I feel like once that's done, like, even if we do have the Kenyan Grammys, I mean, not the Kenyan Grammys, the African Grammys,
the African Grammys,
in Kenya, I feel like even if we do have that, at the end of the day, once that whole wave has sort of washed over the shore, what else is there? Like, is there actually going to be movement? That's my issue. Is like, there's not really much follow through in a lot of these things. So we're definitely skeptical. And I know there's people in the government who probably have good intentions, but then they can feel that there's a lot of skepticism from people. And that it's right to have skepticism about these things, because that's how it has been for a while.
Okay, Sam. So let's try and take the government out of the equation. Assume that they don't exist. They don't exist. We're living in a world where the African Grammys is a thing, and it just happens to be held in Kenya.
Yeah.
What benefits do you think we're gonna reap from that? Because for me, it's just like, bro, imagine all the top African artists who are gonna be around and their artist teams and all that stuff. Like, it would be something very interesting, to be honest. Because think about all the collaborations that will happen. You know, people like Molly and people like Rema and Ira Star, Ashake, like Tyler, like all those people coming to this one country just for like a weekend.
Yeah.
That could do a lot in terms of the creative economy.
Do you think all those artists show up on the first try? Like, is it going to be a thing where
if it's something that's backed by the actual Grammy?
Okay. No, but even then,
yes,
though,
they do.
Even then, because sometimes they don't be taking the Grammys seriously. Like, artists sometimes don't take the Grammys seriously. So also the location now might add some extra to that. But it would definitely.
But Kenya is not a slouch. Like, in terms of African countries, people rate Kenya, so they would show
Kenya
up
is not a
to
slouch.
the country.
Definitely not a slouch.
Yeah, so people would show up, and if it's by the actual Recording Academy, which already has all the accolades, then yeah, people show up for sure. I think. No, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they do. Well, like, what's the motivation not to? If it's a completely certified event. So it would be dope. I can't lie. Like, if it's an actual thing that they're trying to implement, it would be interesting to see. The only problem is now we bring in, now the government, which is a real thing, then obviously it becomes a bit sketchy in terms of what the motivations are to do this whole thing. Is it just a money thing as well? Because remember, if this thing doesn't go in, that's a whole 500 million Kenya shillings that has just
Down
been spent on something that
the
didn't even
drain.
work.
500
You know what I
million
mean?
of your
Yeah.
taxes. Of your taxes.
And then, to be
Remember
honest,
that.
I feel like the general public wouldn't care that much, and because this isn't really an issue that's very pertinent in the
Yeah. It's a creative thing.
the
It's the creative
country
economy, yeah.
narrative. Yeah, because most people the country is a mess outside of that. Like, more people would have their priorities placed on things like fuel and stuff like that. So a lot of people would find this like a completely unnecessary thing. But anyway, that's what makes it all very complicated.
It is. I mean, in sort of line with that, the Kalasha Awards were also held recently, and just because we're talking about the government and the creative economy, and Ruto was, I guess, the special guest, and yeah, so he showed up, and of course showed up to support the economy is what would think he'd be there to do. But then there are a couple of things that he talked about that in terms of the proposal, proposing that 30% of the government's advertising budget would be directed towards creative platforms, production houses, digital creators, agencies, that kind of thing. He also proposed that, saying that Kenyan, I don't know why this one is a major thing or it's a talking point, but then Kenyan creators apparently now have access to monetization tools, which is what's okay. And then the creative influencers, you know it's interesting. I'll continue after this, but it's interesting how like when you have a leader who has his signature. We are talking about producers and their signatures. Leaders have their signature. I think affordable housing is is one of Ruto's signature, because he found a way to sneak affordable housing into a creative infrastructure conversation, saying that affordable housing projects will include audiovisual studios to provide workspaces for artists. So you could have apartments that have, like, you know how you have gyms, so there'll be like studios in those apartments. And then he was talking about just asking the parliament to fast track the creative economy bill to improve the copyright protections and prevent exploitation of artists, which I think it became more of a talking point with, the recent thing that I guess the government was involved in with black market records. So those are the main talking points, apart from just talking about the Grammys and having that here, then raising Kalasha Awards incentives and the payouts and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the major things. Again, is there anything that maybe stood out to you in terms of?
Well, I don't know. I guess shout out to them, what they have going on over there.
It's just follow through. We find it hard to believe sometimes the government, because they don't have a track record of.
No, yeah. I mean, the reason why I don't sound too like excited about like awards and stuff like that is like it's just a lot of propaganda, and now considering like it's partnered with the government, it completely calls into question the incentive or the reasons behind why it's even happening. Anyway, you want to talk about new music, man?
Let's talk about music.
Okay, so I'm gonna start this week. So obviously you all know I went for the Hilda Watiri's Trouble listening party. Shout out to her. I mean, even the rollout, with the main suspects and stuff like that, and trying to reveal who's had a hand in creating the project and everything. It was a really good approach. I feel like she made a lot of efforts to release this project. The photo shoot she did was also really cool. So they really had an intentional approach towards the project. So you all check that out. Watiri's Trouble, an amazing collaborations with international acts as well. Which I thought was very, very interesting. Primarily produced by Run, as we mentioned. And yeah, Hilda Watiri is definitely becoming someone who, is undeniably an artist who we need to pay attention
Yep.
to. So shout out to Hilda and her team. I also listened to another project called Skiza Magi Magi by Sean MMG. Very interesting project because it starts off not urban tone. Like the vibes are mostly like Afro beats and stuff like that.
I
And even
tried
if
to
you look
throw
at
them
their
for a loop.
collaborations,
Yeah. I tried to
yeah,
throw one too.
they were really throwing us. They were really throwing us for a loop because even if you look at the collaborations and you see people like Ben Soul, you're like, wait, is this a Sean MMG project?
No, yes, it is.
S- it is.
Just
It is. So
morphed back into.
exactly. So it starts off as very, Ben Soul, Okelomax. The song with Okelomax, Kairetu, was very interesting because Okelomax was trying to his best to sound like Rema, which is it just offered a very interesting listen. But yeah, and then towards like after Why Lie like this, now it goes back to the sound that we are used to from Sean MMG. I think the song with Fathermoh, Kakizoza, was my favorite one. Maybe it's just because that's what I'm used to from him. The song I did not like, and I actually have to say it was Wrong. Wrong should not have made it onto this project.
Why not?
I'm so sorry. It just was so slow, and he was trying to do something different, and it just wasn't working, man. It's like a black hole that sucks away the vibe of the EP, in my opinion. And
That's a
I don't know.
strong
It
way.
just felt a bit.
Strong way of putting
Yeah,
it.
but it
A
just
black
felt
hole.
a bit But it's
My goodness.
it's my only critique about the project. Like without that song, I think that project is decent. But Wrong was just like I was just listening to it. I was just like, I don't know if it's for me. But anyway, shout out to Sean MMG. It's interesting to see how these urban tone kids are evolving, because definitely the urban tone wave is kind of done right now, so they have to adapt. So it's good to see. The other projects or songs that I listened to were Boys Need Love by EXO, Venna, and August 4. EXO is on a run. He's really releasing a lot of music. Venna is definitely putting her mark as well. She's been releasing very consistently since last year, so it's good to see her doing collaborations as well. I guess I would say the last thing I want to shout out is Downgrade by DJ Moonlake, Hilda Watiri, and Tesla. It's good to see Tesla collaborating with people outside of like a black market records context, and I like to see her when she's making music like that. So yeah, that's what I would say I listened to this week.
Yeah, a couple of good releases. I liked My Lover by Murahiri by Geddy and A Rush. Interesting. That three-step bounce. Tina Dore with Shreka. That's another Afro house song. I like Tina Dore's she has a very she's developing like a very signature vocal sound in terms of how she delivers stuff, and I think that like once like that's perfected to a T, I think she's going to go pretty far with that. Selfish by Malosh and Ashley Gogo, I listened to that a little bit. Hush by Bosire and Ras Amor. Waidaka was with MJ Wemoto, and Jivu with Wapi. Again, Jivu have been releasing a lot more frequently recently. And they've been having a couple of good collaborations under their belt. So shout out to them, man. Shout out to them for still pushing, staying years and years in the game. Yeah, that was mostly what sorry, another shout out. Loki by Kelechi Africana. Yeah, I'm just watching Kelechi Africana. I think he has something interesting going on in his little corner of the industry. So it's just good to watch that. Yeah. Honestly, that was the extent of what I have heard. It was a very busy weekend. So I haven't like sat down to listen to a lot of music. But yeah, do you want
That's
to
fine.
intro?
That's fine. I get it. I get it. And yeah,
Hold on. I've been hyping this project since it came out. I mean, since it was announced. One of the projects is the Nairobi Chant EP by Chef K and Sersky. They finally dropped the 4-track EP. They had released a couple of singles, and there's Ndimodi, which they released, and then they released Nairobi Chant last week, the week before last week, depending on when you're hearing this. And then they have 2 more songs on there: Vimto by Chef K and then Zia by Sersky. Just go check that out. Absolutely phenomenal, and like they are doing something different in terms of the Afro house scene. So I just wanted to bring that up. Sorry.
okay. So for our pick of the week, the song is from an amazing duo who I didn't know I needed, but I actually find out that this is actually a thing. Ilania and Ywaya Tajiri released the song Weche, Hera, and it's such a vibe, honestly. Produced by Ran again. He's everywhere at this point. But it's just so calming. It's so chill. And I like that. I think my vibe as a producer is more towards like the calming. Well, I'm lying because I used to like rage music, but still, like just the calming and chill chords and the guitars and the bass lines, amazing. And then the songwriting, the hook is really catchy. And then when Ywaya comes in, bro, it's insane. And the little pre-hook thing he does at the end is just really good. The backing vocals that like, it's I like the approach because it's very minimalistic. You know, it's not too many ad-libs here and there. It's a few backing vocals, but like it's very tasteful. The reverb makes the music sound very expansive, and like you're immersed in an entire experience. So I want to shout out Ilania. I think she's really talented, has a high ceiling. And Ywaya, we already know he's just killing it right now. So our song to end the podcast and the song that you guys are going to listen to is Weche Hera by Ilania and Ywaya Tajiri.
Run.
Anichera to cuero, anichera to cuero. Kimaliti mana, Weche Hera okana. I'll never cry over you. Si unajua kila ulinidu. Nilikupa kila kitu delulu for real. Hadi nikakupikia, I was head over heels. Unanijua, nisifanyenge hizi mavitu, but I did it for you. Now ukanipa machozi. Mimi shaenda, so don't call my phone when you pretend. And I know you know I'm learning to let go. I say you don't recall. Anichera to cuero, anichera to cuero. Kimaliti mona, Weche Hera okana. Anichera to cuero, anichera to cuero. Kimaliti mona, Weche Hera okana.
Nobody's perfect, basi si unisame mrembo. Na sitaki violence, I want us to work it out, tabebo. Ni ndo nilifunja moyo wako, na sijakata kukwache kaniacha mina mawazo. Saizi najuta temane baby, mimi niko ready, mbona sielewi uko defensive. Nda wanna give you yangu penzi, mbali na wewe misiendi. Na manyo Hera kama yako sijaona bado, nisamehe.
Anichera to cuero, anichera to cuero. Kimaliti mona, Weche Hera okana. Anichera to cuero, anichera to cuero. Kimaliti mona, Weche Hera okana. I know you know I'm learning to let go.
You guys just listened to Weche Hera by Ilania and Ywaya Tajiri. Y'all make sure you listen to that. There's a lyric video on YouTube as well. I don't know if they're going to do a video. When did it become the standard to release a lyric video and then release an actual video? I don't know when that became like the trend. But like that's the thing now.
Yeah, it's a recent development. And then
it's like in the past 2 years or so, like it's become the thing.
And visualizers as well. They do a lot more visualizers now, and trying to get. I think it's partly to get a feel of how people are going to receive the videos on YouTube. I think partly that's why they do it, just to get a feel, like see how many people are gravitating, because you don't want to do that and then spend a whole budget on a video and
making a video that nobody wants to watch. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. The people who did it worst though, bro, this is gonna sound like shade, but Ira Star, when they did Hot Body and they released the visualizer, I guess the visualizer was so sick. And then they released the video, and that video was mid. I hated it. I hated the video so bad.
Oh, no.
Like, you all should just never have done that. Actually, I have so many feelings about Hot Body and how that song in general was mishandled. But that's a podcast for the Nigerian music industry. The 70% podcast or whatever it is they do over there.
The West African music podcast.
But yeah, shout out to you guys for sticking with us and listening to this podcast as you always do. We do not take it for granted. We really appreciate you guys for spending your Wednesdays or whenever you listen to this podcast with us. If you're new here, I'd like to end the podcast with the 3 C's, which is a mantra that I've devised for myself that I thought I would share on the podcast. The first C being confidence. Always be confident in your art. If you're not confident in your work, nobody's going to be confident in it for you. So you have to be confident. Number 2, consistency, which is insanely important. The people who are consistent are way more successful than the people who are talented. I saw a quote from Seth Rogen recently. He was talking about how, as a creative in the industry, what he's realized is for a lot of the people who he's seen be successful, they're where they are simply because they did not quit. And that's the fact is, like, if you're good at something but you quit, you will not make it. But like, there'll be no possibility of you like making it if you quit in something. But if you do quit, then there is a chance that if you don't quit, there is a chance that you will be successful. So quitting that just completely, like reduces your chances of being successful. The people who are successful, sometimes they're just consistent, and then all of a sudden they're the only ones in the space, and so now they're the ones who are successful. So yeah, and the last C is craft. Always work on your craft. Spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes of your day working on music or your chosen creative genre, and I promise you those hours or minutes that you've spent will add up and be very important. All right, man. Sam, what's up?
Facts.
What's up?
Factoid. Factory.
We are now in the 180s, bro.
Yeah,
what do you want to do for the 80s?
Let's see.
We're in the 80s. It's the crack epidemic of podcasting.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not the crack epidemic of podcasting. Oh no, let's not say that. But no, yeah, 80s. Let's see what the 80s bring. Hopefully,
let's see.
Good things and interesting discussions and topics. We're out. See you guys on the next episode.
Man. All right, we'll see you guys on episode 181.